hello. We got another one from Men Only here. Leftover women learn the hard way because men aren't pursuing them anymore. This is a woman crying about the dating sphere in New York. Let's listen.
I want to talk about the dating in New York because it fucking sucks. Like, every single situationship and, like, thing that I've been in has gone so left. And I'm like, is it me? Like, what did I do?
Well, there's a dual diagnosis to this. Okay, so part of it is you're in New York, which is definitely not going to be a family oriented city and place to be. They're going to be focused on hookups. They're going to be focused on parties and quote unquote situationships. So part of it's in you're looking in the wrong place. That's part one. The other part is you're not actively construing relationships in the way that you need to. You're not leading them in the direction of commitment and marriage. If you give it to the guy on the first date, why would he think that you're long-term commitment? Why would he look at you and treat you like a wife? It just doesn't make any sense. So part of it is you're in a bad place, and I'll give you that, some sympathy there. But the other element of it is a lot of this is women's own doing. They don't foster an environment of commitment because they don't set standards and they don't demand themselves to be treated like human beings or treat other guys like human beings. To these type of women, you're either two things as a guy. You are either a god who she throws herself at with no standards for. You are the almighty Chad that she just tosses herself at the altar of. Or you are an incel, you are a loser, you are a worker in the coal mines to be ignored, there to hold up the society for her and her Chad to procreate in, and you are not human to her. So that's really the issue, is that you're not fostering a human environment with men. Your relationships with men are inherently toxic.
And I sit here and I reflect, and it's like, I give so much. Like, I hate it that I'm such, like, a lover girl.
Yeah, okay. Lover girl, I give so much. Translation, I gave my body to a bunch of guys and I was not emotionally equipped to handle that level of intimacy.
Even though I don't really, like, look like it. Like, when I love so hard. And, like, oh, God. And it's like...
Yeah. What basically happens here is she pursues guys way out of her league. She falls for these guys super hard because they're way out of her league. And then she throws her body, she throws all her heart, she throws her love at these guys. This is what I mean. This is a perfect example of women sacrificing themselves on the altar of Chad, which is they treat themselves like a human offering to these guys, like a piece of meat to just be consumed. They throw their entire heart, they throw their body and soul at these guys, and then they end up crying. And that's what happens.
Every situationship that I've been in, I'm like, and it just goes left. I'm like, what did I... Is it me? Like, what did I...
I don't know. She could be an idiot, right? She could just be stupid. She could be asking for commitment from Christian Grey. You know what I mean? She could be just an idiot. Or she could be a chameleon. She's crying right now, but who knows what she's like in her spare time, in her private time, when she's with you one-on-one. Like, I don't trust these girls.
Do... And it's just like, I don't know. Like, I'm so over it. Like, I don't want to do the dating apps anymore. Like, I'm done with dating. Like, before I met you, I was at peace. And then I met you, and we hung out, and, like, did the thing.
Yeah, you did the thing.
And it was so good, and I was so happy, and I was so comfortable, and, like, everything was great. And then it goes left, and it's like, you deserve, like...
What do you mean went left? There's really two ways to interpret that. One is she broke it off for whatever reason, which I doubt. I don't think she did. She sounds pretty hook, line, and sinker for this guy. So she went for a guy who was way out of her league, who was never going to commit to her in the first place. And this is really just another good example of why you need fathers and older brothers to help women make sexual decisions, because any guy would look at this player she fell for and say, yeah, you're not going to get him to commit to you. Don't give out to this guy. It's never going to work. you're chasing a unicorn, lady. And yeah, this is unfortunate to see. I don't like to see women cry. Okay, maybe that was a bit of a lie. I like to see women cry, but it's unfortunate all the same, and I feel bad for these type of women. So, but that's what happens.
Like, disturbs my peace, you know? Like, I'm just like so done. Every time I give it another try, and I end up like really finding a connection with someone, something ends up happening. And I always think that like I'm the one who fucked it up. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, what happened then? That would be my question is, well, what's actually happening in these relationships? There's really two options, as I said before, and I'll say it again. One is you're the one breaking it up and you're fucking it up, or you're pursuing guys who have no interest in committing to you, and therefore you're an idiot. So I don't know what to say here.
Like, I swear to God, the rate that this is going, I'm like, I just give up. Like, I totally give up. I throw, like, I'm done. I surrender. Like, I'm just going to accept the fact that I want to be alone for the rest of my life because I'm never going to find my person, because every time I do, and every time I think I found someone, I didn't. And they end up.
This is like an addiction, you know what I mean? It's like you try heroin and then you're like, oh, it was so amazing, but then there's the crash and it sucks and they're crying. But she'll be right back on the dating apps. I can guarantee you this type of woman. They treat Alpha Chad like it's some kind of an addiction, bro. These type of women will never ever get over their addiction. The only time they'll stop throwing themselves at Alpha Chad is when Alpha Chad stops looking their way. When they can't get his attention anymore. That's the only time they'll finally learn to stop. And then they'll die alone. But what I find funny is that these women want some guy to treat them well and not break up with them and not leave them. And it's like, you could have that guy tomorrow. There's guys who are perfectly good-hearted, who aren't mean, who aren't going to leave you and cheat on you and break up with you and toss you to the side. But you don't treat those men like human. You don't want those men. You want Chad. So it's like, I don't really feel pity for you because you just want your cake and you want to eat it too. And it's like, I don't really feel sorry for that because tons of guys, they get nothing. So that's what I have to say to that.
Just like, they end up just like leaving. And I'm like, what happened? And I know this is like so cringe of me because first of all, I hate crying, especially in front of people, because I don't want to show my weakness and vulnerability. But at the same time, I'm like, somebody else has to relate to this because what the fuck, actually. So now I'm here, trying to enjoy the holiday with my family. My stepdad was nice enough to make me a super fucking stiff drink, so I can breathe for a second and just relax. But yeah, how's your Sunday?
Stepdad, huh? Interesting little detail. Never once have I seen active fathers and an active masculine presence in these women's lives. It always just magically turns out that they have a stepdad, or they only have a mom and they don't have a dad. It's just, interesting how that always seems to play out. But yeah, all in all, guys, I feel bad for these type of women. I do. I know some people kind of get off to watching them suffer, watching them cry. That's genuinely not how I am most of the time. Sometimes maybe if I'm in a real bad mood. But yeah, I genuinely feel sorry for these women. The only issue is that everything they're suffering is their own fault. This is what happens when you give women rights, when you give women full autonomy over their lives and their sexual freedom, is they make bad choices. And it's like, this must be how God feels when he watches man make all these stupid mistakes, commit all these crimes, and commit war crimes against one another. But he has to let it happen. We gave women free will to act as fully equal to men in society, which means you have responsibility for the decisions you make. And if you throw yourself at a guy who isn't going to commit to you, if you throw yourself at player type of guys who don't want to commit to you and don't want to treat you like a wife or a girlfriend, then all I have to say is that's your fault and you need to pick better. You need to settle for someone maybe who doesn't give you quite the tingles, someone who maybe doesn't elicit as much, that quote unquote love, the high as it were, and you need to pick someone who's more on your level. And that's all I really have to say about that. So take care, guys.